Hi. So today is May the 1st, May Day. May Day, May Day. And being May Day, that also means that it is Beltane on the Wheel of the Year, Beltane, which commemorates the midpoint of spring. We are now halfway through spring, halfway right in the midpoint between the spring equinox and the summer solstice, stuck right in the middle there. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle. Well, we're not stuck, but we're in the middle. It also means not only are we in the middle of spring, but we're also halfway to Halloween. That's right. We are equal distance from last year's Halloween and next year's Halloween. So now the start down can commence in earnest. 181, 180, 179, 170. Well, at least for psychos like me. Okay. Well, so, but anyway, on these days of the year where you have either the beginning of a season itself, spring, summer, winter, fall, winter, or the midpoint. I always recognize it and not so much commemorate it with any kind of ritual, but even though for May the 1st, it means it's time to watch The Wicker Man again. Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies. So always glad to rewatch that. No, glad for an excuse. Don't need an excuse. Last year, if I remember correctly, leading up to May the 1st, I actually watched it like almost every day for a whole week. I was just in the mood for it, like that. Sometimes that happens. This time I'll probably just watch it the one time, maybe. But it's time when I at these points when I reflect on the cycle of the natural of nature, right? Of the cycle of nature, right? And it so happens, if you've seen The Wicker Man, then you're familiar with that. They celebrate May Day as this whole thing that is about the bringing forth of life, the multiplication of life, of crops, of harvest, of human reproduction, of all that stuff. And it also happens that on the Catholic calendar, at least it used to be, actually, at least it used to be people pay attention to it way back when, but there's something called Rogation Days. And there are four of them. There's one major Rogation Day and three minor ones. Yeah, this is what you do in what was it? Oh, it's that. That's how you do 3 in Germany if you don't want to get shot. Okay. Anyway, so the major Rogation Day was 6 days ago on April the 25th, I think. And then the 3 minor ones are the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday before Ascension Thursday, which of course is 48 days after Easter. Why do I bring these up? Because the Rogation Days were days of fast, of prayer and fast and sacrifice for protection from calamity and for good harvest. It was Rogation comes from the word rogare, which simply means to ask. So it's asking God for his protection from calamity, asking God for his blessings and his protection and his whatever, to grant us a good growing year and a good harvest. Um, because obviously, you know, if the harvest isn't good, things go really bad. I mean, and that's the thing, regardless of your religion, regardless of what you happen to believe in that regard, the fact is we all do live on this planet, right? And we're all dependent on it, at least physically. And we used to be more aware of that because we had to be, because people used to work the land and work with and just, yeah, they had to be more in touch with nature, and to keep track of it and to tend to it, because they depended on it, and directly. Um, and it was something that most people were involved in, that working at the land to some degree, and um, and so it was something that people were always concerned with, and which they oftentimes then connected to what they believed, and would appeal to the higher power to help them to have a good year, as far as the natural world around them providing what they need. So that's why I bring up the Creation Day, together with Beltane, because they all are acknowledging that we're all human beings, regardless of when we lived, where we lived, and what we believed. There's this constant of where we've got this earth that we live on. There's higher powers that we usually believe in, and we usually connect them in some way. We've gotten away from that of late, yeah. But it's something I like to remember anyway, and regardless of how fancy our economy is, how fancy our inventions are, our technology, and the way all the things we invented, and all the different the ways we've created a world for ourselves in a way, all the different machines and things that we're used to using, and all the things that we think we're so yeah, advanced in inventing or discovering. Beyond all that, beside all that, whatever you think of all that, the basics still remain. The basics still, as much as we can distract ourselves from it, or outsource it or whatever, it still remains. We're still all human beings living on this planet that we depend on. And if we screw with it, it'll screw with us, right? So, anyway, and also, I mentioned Halloween. Of course, Halloween it comes from All Hallows Eve, which is a Christian holiday, but it also happens to be Samhain, or Samhain. I know people say Samhain is the proper way to pronounce it in the original Celtic or whatever, Gaelic or whatever. I don't care. It looks like Samhain. I want to pronounce it Samhain. I'm going to pronounce it Samhain. So, and Samhain is that last harvest festival, talking about harvest. This time of year we're concerned that everything's going to grow properly, that we're going to get the right amount of rain, that the animals aren't going to get to it before we do, and all that stuff. And then at the end of it, we have the harvest festivals. and Samhain being the last harvest festival, the last hurrah before we, hunkered down for winter. Getting in that last harvest, getting in that last crop, and getting and battening down and getting it all stored and battening down the hatches before, the dark, cold weeks ahead. So it all comes together. And of course, at that time of year, we happen to also, as the natural world is dying, we happen to think about the dead who have gone before us, and the world of the dead, the world of the living, and this world, that world, and how they intermingle, if they intermingle, and all that. We kind of naturally think about that, and of course, Catholics have All Saints Day, which directly relates to those who have gone before and are actually in heaven, have achieved the goal of existence. But regardless, like I said, regardless of what you think, of what you believe, there are these common denominators, these common things, these common natural cycles, and the more spiritual thoughts that tend to go along with them. Anyway, I just wanted to say a few words about that. We could actually use some rain, so I'm gonna have to go find a sanctimonious cop to sacrifice to get some rain. Sacrifice to what were those gods? Avalonal and Nuarda, something like that. I should know that thing by heart as many times as I've watched it. And that, that's the. Now, this isn't the time to go into analyzing the Wicker Man, is it? But anyway, so I just wanted to say those few words, and so happy May Day, happy Beltane, happy midway to Halloween. I got some weeding to do as well. I planted some sweet potatoes today, and anyway, thanks for listening.